Salut Lilou.
I love it.
It's great to see you again.
Thank you. Great to see you too. And thank you for accepting to do this interview. I know you're very busy right now. You're spending a lot of time researching and finalizing, I guess, your publication, or is it all ready to go? Can you tell us the process you're into, Nassim? Because I've interviewed you many times. You're this crazy genius, traveling and researching in an unusual way. And a lot of people are waiting for to hear from you and to know how you're doing, how your research is doing, and how exciting what's about to be published, is really for our lives. So we're excited to hear from you. So we're all ears and we want to know everything about everything.
Okay. Well, that's good. That could be the title of that paper, Everything About Everything.
Really?
Well, the process I'm in has been challenging, 2020, and at the same time, it has been very productive in terms of theory because the confinement slowed down my travels. And so I've been very much, working on what I could work during confinement, which is a lot of theory, and finishing pieces I wanted to finish for years, but didn't have time to do. So it has been very productive that way, and as well in experimental study at the laboratory, on the hardware side. So I'm really excited what we, on both sides, on all accounts, because some of the stuff we've done in theoretical side has been very fruitful, very, and we're talking difficult problems in physics that came together with an amazing amount of coherence and precision that it exceeded everything I could imagine in terms of unification of forces. I knew it would be extensive, meaning that it would have an impact on many different aspects of physics, but I didn't realize how beautiful the whole would come together. And the key was really an analytical solution to gravity in relationship to scales as well, and that unified all the physics constants in such a way that the relationship between these physics constants depict a picture that unify the different scales of forces, but as well unify the different scales of particles, and organized matter in the universe, all the way up to the universal size and the multiverse, if we want to. And so, the implication and the profoundness of the unification is remarkable, and it's extremely precise in its predictive power.
But you had already done such an amazing work back in 2013, where this amazing paper was published, and then I remember 4 years ago already you were very excited about how precise this number was. So how?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
What is more exciting? How is it even more exciting now?
Well, because that was really the beginning of the unification. I could see the picture all the way through. It's just I hadn't finished the formalism, and I hadn't understood the mathematical implication of what I found or what I published in 2012, which I have found, years before. And when the radius of the proton became the standard for physics, the radius of the proton I had predicted, meaning CODATA adopted this new value in 2018. So yes, you remember I was very excited. At the same time, they changed the way, it's called the SI units are described and they made values in the fundamental units that, like, the CODATA is where all the constants in physics are recorded. They're agreed upon. It's the result of many, many different experiments that are compiled in a certain algorithm, and then they output a value. That's the official value. So for the radius of the proton, I had predicted to become the official value based on experiment that showed that was correct. That was a big step, but the extent of the theory, the unified view that I had started on, got even more support by the fact that the SI units and the CODATA took h bar as an exact value, and h bar is the Planck constant. They actually based the kilogram on, all of a sudden, it wasn't a ball in a vacuum chamber in Paris that was the fundamental, unit, but actually theory, and had a relationship to the Planck's unit, which is the units I use for that equation, that holographic mass solution that give the correct radius for the proton. So all of a sudden, the basis of what I had done was getting acknowledged as fundamental in that way, not necessarily for those reasons, but in that way. And eventually, then I, using these Planck's interactions, which are now like fundamental units of nature, then I've been able to extrapolate it to all the scales, from particular scale to, planets and stars and galaxies and clusters and superclusters, and with very high level of accuracy, and to all the forces, so the electromagnetic force, the strong force, the gravitational force, and the weak force. So all of a sudden, these things all come together, and all of a sudden you have a picture of the universe where all these units that were established, the SI units, are all upgraded to 10 to the minus 12, to maybe 10 to the minus 13, which means that they have that level of accuracy. And so this is the predictive power of the theory. And how is it predictive?
It's huge,
because if it's above the accuracy of the measurements, right, then you say, well, how do you know it's correct? Well, it's because the same mathematics connects all these constants in physics all of a sudden. And some of these constants, like the G factor, like the Rydberg constant, and so on, are measured at 10 to the minus 12 to 10 to the minus 13. So if the equations give the correct answer on multiple of these constants that are measured very precisely, then the rest can be considered predictive. That is, it's most likely accurate. And it gives us very, very accurate values for alpha and mu. So all this meaning that all of a sudden the unified picture is clear and the mechanics of it is very profound, and they have it's a direct path to understanding gravity at the most profound level, and matter and energy and forces. And so that changes everything.
And how we're all interconnected.
Right, in this way, meaning that even the mechanics of how there's an exchange of information through the system, because it turns out in this model that basically forces are flow of information, if you'd like, through the network. and these flow, is has a very specific speed at different scales, and so now we understand these mechanics of like how the system is interconnected so that it can produce feedback through these forces, right? So I mean, you have a force of gravity you could think of as a flow of information going into a point, right? And you have a force of electromagnetism that you can think of a flow of information emanating from a point, right? And the two are in feedback, and the feedback loop, which, these are further formalism and mathematics we're writing, can describe consciousness eventually, at least self-awareness, a system learning about itself, right? Self-learning systems that eventually gets more and more complex, and then eventually produce a human being, right? So
this means we'll be learning in different ways. I mean, I guess it involves all our areas of life are going to be impacted by this research, right? I hear that. I can feel that we're going to learn in different ways, interact in different ways, connect, receive differently with each other, and with new solutions that come in and new technologies coming in as well.
Correct. New technologies that will change the way you interact with the universe around you. For instance, if all of a sudden we understand gravity at this most profound level, let's say that now we can control gravity. Gravity control would change your life instantaneously, right? So all of a sudden society does things completely differently. Space colonization is possible, resources are no longer limited to one planet, like all of a sudden there's a big change in the civilization in which you are embedded, and that will change your life fundamentally. If you can go to Jupiter for the weekend, it's going to change the way you see the world, the way you see the universe,
the way you think,
the way you see yourself. And so big changes.
Yeah. Gosh. I had a question that just like slipped for a second because I get so excited, because how about if this goes in the hand of the wrong person though? Like I always wonder, because what you're saying right now, I would be really happy to hear what you're going through as far as to this being published, and what are the implications, and how about if this goes in the hand of somebody with the wrong, I mean, is there a downside to all of this? Like, can you go too far into this research, and can it be too soon? You know what I mean?
Well, yes, I know exactly what you mean. There's been, I've been thinking about those things for a long time, and I don't think it's going to be any sooner than it needs to be. I think that the world is undergoing a transformation right now that's very fundamental, and there's a great opening, and it's the time in which this transformation is, we've arrived to this moment where there's a nexus in our evolution where we have to move to the next level, and there is a possibility. You see, there is no wrong people. There's just institutions that can redirect their energy towards, really powerful, positive outcome for humanity. It's about consciousness. It's about each one of us growing and transforming and evolving, and it's not just happening in the public. The public are these institutions as well, meaning like, military personnel and all this. Those are all, people. And these people, most of them got involved because they wanted to do something positive for humanity. And I think there's a transformation that's happening in our social structures that is encouraging people to like seek new ways of interaction, new ways of doing things, more transparency, more openness. There's all kinds of things. For instance, there's official Pentagon release of UFO interactions and so on. There's all kinds of openings that are happening, including in physics. There's big openings that are occurring in physics that are transformative. Like everybody knows that there's something really big coming. And so, and I was discussing this with somebody a few days ago that is very plugged into the financial structure and the political structures. And that's exactly what they were saying as well. They were saying, they know something amazing is coming. And they're looking for where that is and what it is. So I think we're at the right place. I just gonna have to trust, that all this is happening at the right time.
Yeah. How can we support you? Is there something critical that needs to be done? Is there a certain number that needs to hear this before even it's published? What's going on in the pre-publication of such a paper? Is there anything we can do to get it out there, to support you, to we're a bit
Yes. Well, it's incredible. We have about 80,000 people taking the course on our foundation side, and that's really exciting. And so, of course, there's all kinds of things people can do to support. The most importantly is that we're able to continue to move forward and have the proper financial structure to be able to do so. And that has been challenging. But it is as well very much important for people to contribute what they can, there's all kinds of things that, for instance, we started a collaboration with engineers and physicists in France as well. We're needing some help crunching mathematical equations, and where people are volunteering their time to help us crunch all the data we have to crunch. So that's one way. Another way is to take the course and participate in the forum and talk to people. If you have as well financial resources you can contribute, then you can talk to us at Touristech, or you can become a member of the foundation, for instance. That helps a lot. There's all kinds of ways as well. If you get some art crystals, that helps a lot too, because we use a lot of those funds for ongoing research and development. So there's all kinds of ways that people can help.
And is there particular information or piece of information, like referring to what you were saying earlier, that needs to get out and a lot of people need to hear?
Specific to this paper, or? Well, I kind of said it already, but in general, what people need to hear is that there is amazing things coming that are gonna really help humanity, and we have, and in each person makes a difference. Each person contribution, just level of awareness, level of union. I would say unifying ourselves, right, with the world, with each other, all the pieces of ourselves as well, kind of coming together, like putting Humpty Dumpty back together, and walking in the world with that view, that mindset, really being aware of what is our contribution and what is our participation in the field, in the morphogenetic field of our planet every day, And when we do that, I think we contribute the most.
I know that the first time I've interviewed you, it was in Kauai, Hawaii. So, and I met this surfer, researcher. I know nature is so important to you, and obviously over there, nature is so beautiful and thick and inspiring. And this is definitely part of your life, and you're close to nature, and this is your inspiration for a lot of what you have done. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that nature is the great teacher, and you can experience nature, I think, at many different levels. It depends of your capacity to link in. I think of it as an empathic link, you're made out of nature, and we have a tendency to think of ourselves as separate from nature, but we are made out of the same stuff, and it runs the same mechanics as the rest. And to feel that link, and I love to do sports, I love to surf, I love to ski, I love to climb, and so on. And in that way, I get to be in it, at the level in which I feel it through not only my senses physically, but as well through my connection to it. And so that's important for me. When you're going down the wave, you're riding the oscillation of space-time, from the ocean, that delivers it, because you can think of the water molecules. They're actually not, they're just moving up and down. The wave that you're riding is an energy wave that you're riding on. And so it's really a very strong, kinetic experience of nature, for instance. And then in there is the dance that you're doing with the water and the movement and so on. And in there is you directing this flow, interacting with this energy wave, and connecting with it, with the environment in such a way that even the mechanics of it have like a profound or a deeper implication in your awareness. And so I think for me, it helped a lot to develop some of the physics I've written that way.
Yeah. I would like to finish this interview by kind of acknowledging and being grateful for all the help that you get and the teams, because I do know that when you're a researcher, it's not just you. Like right now it's your name, but there's a lot of people involved and that made this possible. And it feels right to speak about that, because I know you're totally a person in gratitude. I've seen you, you know, around Europe. We've organized for you some seminars. I've seen how much time you spend with the people coming and showing up. It's very difficult to pull you out of the crowd, Nassim, because you can speak for hours and hours. You've got this amazing energy, and I know gratitude is definitely part of your formula, if I can say.
Absolutely.
So I just wonder if there is something you want to acknowledge now.
Yeah, I mean, I work within a team of amazing people. For instance, this paper I've written with Olivier Alérol, Dr. Olivier Alérol is, nuclear physicist that I've been collaborating with from France for years, and he's been here working with us full time for 2 years now as well, and on the paper specifically. And of course, all the engineers I work with, and all the administration staff, and all the people, and all of the public that has been so supportive, so amazing, and so many times. Those are the things that keeps me going, because, I have moments where I'm like, oh my God, I must have gone crazy. What am I doing? Because it takes a lot of dedication, and it's a lot of work. And, sometimes it's like, maybe I should just be a bum on the beach surfing. But a lot of these times, I read we get hundreds of comments and so on. I read the comments of people, the change that has happened in their life, and some of the amazing thoughts that they're having and so on. And it's just, it keeps me going, and it means a lot. And it means a lot, not just for me to keep going, but as well for the whole team, and for our capacity to do the research and so on. Like it's way more than the addition of each one of the people. It's synergetic, and it's super important, and it's very much appreciated by us.
So what's the timing? Just last question. What's the timing here for the paper and the next things? How does it look? What does it look like?
It's gonna be in general, I've been saying for the last, this is what happens. I was reading that from another physicist that in France, actually, that published papers on the new value that was measured for alpha, but that, like, it's really hard to figure out when you gotta cut it off and say, okay, I gotta, not keep going down the rabbit hole. And for this paper in particular, it's difficult because it has so many deep implications in physics, and I have to make sure that enough of those implications are treated formally, so that everything is solid. And so I'm still massaging where that will end, but
what's your intention?
This winter. It will happen this winter. And so, hopefully January, February, and so on,
Okay.
But
this is soon.
Yeah, very close. We're very close.
Exciting.
Yeah. I tried to cancel Christmas so we could keep working, but that didn't go over. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just a workhorse. But because I'm so excited as well, and there's so much work to do. But I think that in general, and then it's going to take some time for us to publish. In terms of peer review. So, that's going to take some time. So, but we're going to have material for people to play with, for sure by midwinter. And a lot of discussion can go from there. And I'm so excited to have, you know, those discussion and the feedback and to share all this with the world.
Yeah, I can feel how it's gonna create a whole movement. There is already one, but it's gonna be very interesting what happens then.
Yeah, and it's been such an epic year, and I think that a lot of what's going on out there, it's easily, I'm sure you know this, but it's easy if you look at the 5 o'clock news to get pretty discouraged or scared, worried about the future, what are we going to do? I mean, I have a teenager boy and a 10-year-old at home, trying to do the best they can to continue their studies and at the same time have some kind of social interactions and so on. And so I know it can be difficult at this time, but I think as well, it's really important to concentrate on what is opening and the positive impact, on society, for the amazing changes that are happening, the amazing transformation that's occurring in people, and the value of life, I think, the value of life, the value of our elders, and as well, a deep sense of what is important,
mm-hmm.
What is important in life, what is important in our short time here on Earth, and what positive impact can we have in the world. And I think there's a huge positive transformation that's occurring.
Thank you, Nassim. Thank you so much for this interview in English. We're going to do one in French as well for all French speakers, because you're very much the French speakers, francophone, love you here too, and they want to definitely hear their language and hear all what's going on. So thank you so much, Nassim, for all your work, and I'll post this on YouTube with some links underneath for more information, and so that we can be there once you'll pre-publish all this work. Thank you so much for being available and doing this video, and congratulations on all the big work you're doing right now.
Thank you.
Gros bisous.
Thank you, Lilou.